They were calling Trump's address the State of the Union because that would imply that we have one. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. The judge looking at my date. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing with a friend. Well, I'm excited. Neil Giraldo's in studio. Always been a big fan.
Well, thank you, Adam. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Well.
I maybe one of my go-to karaoke songs is "Hell Is for Children."
Oh, you picked that one.
I picked that.
Oh, good.
One.
I bet you can hit those high notes. Yeah.
A lot of people go with "Summer Lovin'." Not me. I go "Hell Is for Children."
Good.
And the reason I do it is because it starts slow.
Correct. Very somber. That's the key.
And I do a preamble about, abuse and children and America and stuff. And then at some point, if you want to see what I look like doing "Hell Is for Children," that's at Jimmy Kimmel's house in 2004.
Very nice.
Yeah, but the thing about this song, and I never delved into it. It was just my song.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you picked that one. It was one of my favorites, one of Patricia's favorites as well. Yeah.
You wrote this song?
Correct. Yeah.
It's got, people don't give it its due in the rock world because it kicks into gear and has a great ending.
Yes.
In terms of songs, I don't like it when a song just kind of coasts to a stop.
Correct.
This song has an ending.
Yes.
Like lots of songs, they just end up repeating the same thing and then they just pot it down. And it's
Correct.
like, that's not an ending.
No, it's not an ending.
This song has an end.
This song is like a whole movie.
You know when it's over.
Yeah, you know when it's over. You know when it begins. It's supposed to be very somber and sad. And then the chorus comes in and you're getting a little more angry because you're a little more pissed off about this. And then you get really mad.
Me. I'm livid.
You're mad.
I'm throwing karate kicks.
You can't believe this kind of shit happens to children. This is like unbelievable. So then you go crazy and then But then at some point when we talk about this, I'll tell you where I nicked the end from. But we'll get when we get there.
We'll get into the booze
and
the
you'll
bourbon.
see what I mean when we get there.
But I just want you to hear the lick. You playing the lick at the end. Now the headphones got to go on.
Well, I can hear it.
You can hear it. Yeah,
okay,
just
I can hear
go
it.
the last minute. And let's kick it in. That's how you end a song.
That's how you end it, right there.
That's don't just slowly fade it.
No. They got to get you to think, too, at the end. After this whole movie escapade, you get to the end, you just got to absorb. I'll tell you something about it. When we used to make records in the vinyl, you make vinyl now too, but on the inside of the record, it was the last song on, I think it was on side A. But when you get to the inner part of the record on the vinyl, because it goes around in a shorter radius, a diameter rather than the at the end songs, that you have to mix it a certain way so you can have the integrity of the low end. Because think about the physics of that. If it's going around this area, it's quicker than this area.
Because one radius is 4 inches and one radius is 11 inches.
That's correct.
And so it's a lap is going to take longer on the out in the at the edge than versus near the middle.
Absolutely right. That's right, Ed. You know about
because you're like a NASA scientist. Or like, we're going to use the gravity of the moon to slingshot us around toward Earth.
Sometimes you got to do stuff to get people to listen to stuff.
So for you, and by the way, Three Chord Bourbon is what we're talking about. It's available now at threechordbourbon.com. And if you want to go there for more information, I don't know if you can tell, but I took a little sip out of one of those.
Yeah, that's okay. You can sip as much as you want.
They're
all yours, man.
I took the high octane one because I thought, why not?
Yeah.
Taking a little sip out of it. And it's good. You're talking to guys tasting some bourbon.
Yeah,
it's
really
real
good.
nice. It's got the one I got was, let's see.
Was it the Strange?
Yes.
Oh, no, this is Cast Strength. It's
good. High octane, but got some little notes of like cinnamon and stuff to it. It's very flavorful. It's very nice.
Oh, well, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. The guys work really hard.
Neat or on the rocks. I don't think I'd be mixing up stuff with this.
No, we don't generally. Well, whatever anybody wants to do, they buy the bottle. It's their bottle now. They can do whatever they want with it, right? So, but we try to encourage neat or a little blessing, like we call it. We take a little water and we just bless it like this.
I was thinking, so I was out on the road and I was driving around for long periods of time. And when I drive around for long periods of time, I force whoever's driving the rental car to listen to what I want them to listen to. And if I want them to listen to it, there's a good chance they've never heard of whatever. So this topic for me, when I was driving from Pebble Beach to Napa, was we're getting into Jethro Tull.
Okay.
And the person that was driving didn't know a lot about Jethro Tull, but I said, you got to appreciate Jethro Tull, man. And then I screamed, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which drives me nuts. Pat, and you guys got in.
Correct.
You had to wait a little longer than you probably should have.
A little while, yeah.
With me, with all the hits and all the rock and all the everything.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing because the people that run the Rock Hall now, it's Greg Harris, great guy, and John Sykes, great guy. But when during the ceremony and the TV show, because it is a TV show, right? It's a ceremony. During that time, very first thing I did when I saw John again, he goes, do you remember in 1978? He used to drive me and Rick Derringer around the radio stations.
Wow.
He went from driving for CBS for the label. He would take us to radio stations when I was with Derringer.
When you were with Derringer, and so I started thinking about, it's like, okay, Jethro Tull needs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then I started thinking the band UFO needs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And also, once you start putting in, I mean, okay,
there's so many names.
Once Joan Jett's in, then everyone should get in, because okay. But it's sad. But all right, it's affirmative action.
Weird. Yeah, it's so weird.
But also, then I was looking down, you worked with John Waite. Right?
I did. Yeah, I produced his first solo record because I produce more. I play guitar, I play piano, I play instruments, but I use them as tools because my main focus is songs. I'm a producer and a writer, a songwriter. I want to write songs, make records, and that's what I do mostly. And guitars and instruments are tools for that. But yeah, John is a phenomenal guy, really good friend of mine still. And
you should ask him. You should ask him about this story once. Well, first off, John Waite was with a band called The Babies.
The Babies.
And The Babies had a lot of great songs, like kick-ass songs. But then John, maybe sort of like Morrissey, sort of went off on his own, and then people thought Baby songs were John Waite songs, and maybe they were, but they forgot he was in a band. Like Morrissey was in a band, but his sound didn't really change when he left.
Correct.
And so they know the hits, and they know John Waite, but they don't remember the Babies, but I think they think that's because they think those were just John Waite hits.
Of course, yeah, that would make sense. That's right. Probably so. Yeah.
But the Babies have some hits. Like
they had some hits. Yeah. I mean, John still does some of the songs live when he plays. Any great singer, no matter what genre or no matter what they do, when they sing a song, it becomes their own. So it's easy to identify a song if John does a song on his solo stuff, and they hear him on the Babies. If I listen to Baby songs, it sounds like John Waite. Whatever he's done.
Well, then you go back to it and you go, well, maybe John Waite was the Babies.
He was.
Maybe, well, I mean, he was in it, but I mean, maybe they were all his songs, maybe that's why it sounds like him, because some guys are the band.
Yeah. That was probably the case. He was a tremendous songwriter, too.
Well, when you talk to him, I have a recollection.
Okay.
Many, many years ago, I was at a function at a restaurant on the west side, and it was before I was doing my 10 o'clock radio show, and I met these record guys, as we used to do back in the day when I worked at K-Rock, along with John Waite, at a high-end bistro on the west side. And
west side of Los Angeles.
Yes, sorry, not New York.
I keep thinking New York.
No, you're right. I shouldn't say that.
No,
I should say the west side from here.
Okay.
Speaking of bourbon, John liked to have a pop. Sound like the same guy?
Not as so much now, but
okay. But he used, back in the day, he liked to drink.
Yeah.
And he did what sometimes people do after a couple of drinks. He singled me out as somebody he wanted to get to know.
Okay.
And probably knew I was on the radio, maybe TV back then or something. And he came over. And he was talking, chewing on my ear a little bit.
Right.
Now I'm from regular dude land, so I don't really care if guys.
Cool, man.
You can't offend me, and I know him as a guy from the Babies.
Sure.
So I'm a fan, And we're talking, but at some point, maybe he crossed the line into some zone that I was okay with because you couldn't do anything to me. But I think the executives and the other A&R guys were starting to not appreciate where he was going with some of these conversations. And at some point, literally just told him he must leave this dinner. They just said, stand up, famous guy. We're calling you a cab. You cannot bug Adam Carolla anymore, and you have to leave.
Understood.
And I didn't care, but I was more embarrassed that they had to go tell him to leave, but that's my John Waite story.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine what happened there, but John he's an interesting guy. When we were making a record, we were doing a vocal, lead vocal.
Fine, I don't know, the Baby's two biggest songs or whatever. You'll know it.
And he was singing, and then he says, hold on a second. I said, okay, so I waited like that, and then I hit the talk back. I go, John, you ready? John? I looked in there, he was gone. I went inside, there was a back window open. He climbed out of the power station. It disappeared for the day. He never came back.
That feels like the guy I was talking to. Were you sought after this in the producing department?
Well, at that time, I had a #1 record with Rick Springfield with Jesse's Girl, which I co-produced and played all the guitars on that. So I had that. And then the regret I have, because I was too busy on the road, was I had a meeting with Ozzy, and it went really well. And I was going to produce his record. It was the one that was after, I always get this wrong, Howl at the Moon or whatever.
Well, that was one.
It was going to be the next one. And I met with the band and Ozzy, we got on great. But then I was too busy. I couldn't do it. I felt bad. I wish I could have. So,
yeah, but you did
things
some
were rolling. Yeah,
great
things were
stuff.
pretty good.
And also Springfield's first album.
Whatever Jesse's Girl was on.
Yeah, that was all the hits. Mm-hmm. People forget there was a bunch of hits on that album.
Yeah, there was a couple. I think I did that song, and I've done everything for you. You've done nothing for me. That's right. See, Adam, you know a lot of stuff, man.
Are you playing on that one?
Yeah, I did play on that one. I played on that one too, and co-produced it with Keith and
was his
Rick.
Drummer what the last name of White?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And then he later...
Unfortunately, he passed away.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. I think last year. The person I used was a guy named Mike Baird. He played drums on Jesse's Girl. I've done everything for you. That's what it was.
Because he married Katie Segal from
correct.
Married with Children.
Correct.
And I used to work on their house.
In Point Dume?
No, I worked on his house when they lived up in the Hollywood Hills, sort of above the whatever.
Okay, because they moved to Point Dume, and I was living on Point Dume at the same time. Then
wow.
Was then.
So yeah, Rick, I've worked with a little bit, and comes across as the nicest guy in the world.
Nice guy, great guy, great family. His wife's sweet. His children are great. Yeah.
So that's easy. If you're working with a guy who's not going to get drunk and crawl out the window, right?
No. John, he wasn't drunk. He just crawled out the window.
Crawled out the window.
And then I couldn't find him.
No, I added drunk because crawling out windows is a drunk activity.
Well, not for John. It was just an impulse. He's an impulsive guy. It happens.
And everyone in English, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So you just playing the guitar your pretty much whole life, right? I mean, you didn't.
Yeah.
Did you have a day job?
Did I? Yeah, I worked on the docks for a while in Cleveland. Yeah, of course I did. But I worked during the day and then played gigs at night. Mm-hmm. And I started playing guitar when I was 6 because my father wanted me to do duets with my sister who played accordion so we could do Italian songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that worked out for a while until my Uncle Tim basically came to live with me. He was 4 years older, and then he introduced me to the Kinks and the Stones, and then next thing I know, I'm going to Who concerts, and life changed.
Who are some of your Mount Rushmore groups that you like?
The Yardbirds. Love the Yardbirds. Love the Kinks. Love the Who because I love Pete Townsend as a writer because I like people in bands like that write songs. Like Pete he's a songwriter and then a musician, all together at one.
I love the Who.
I love them, and Pete's phenomenal to me, I think. And Rogers, they were a great band.
Innovative, interesting. Bands should be interesting.
Yeah,
that's what I was yelling at the guy who was driving me this week. I go, Jethro Tull is interesting. It's interesting.
They're interesting. I did have a run-in with Ian Anderson.
Oh, now here we go.
It was funny because
He seemed like a weird guy.
Yeah, we were doing a gig, and it was outside, and we kind of opened up for him.
What year is this, you think?
Geez, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe even longer. Maybe longer than that. And we went over like
And we say
2
we,
minutes.
you mean...
Patricia and I. And
Pat Benatar.
Patricia, that's what I call it.
Well, you call it, but I'm saying if
For
the
you
band
people,
is buying a ticket to
Yes,
see Pat
that's
Benatar
it.
and Jethro Tull.
Basically, that's kind of it. And so I went over like 2 minutes, and he came in and started yelling at my guitar tech.
2 minutes?
That's so unprofessional.
Really?
That's so unprofessional of him. That's what he's doing. And my tech said, if you would like to talk to Spider, that's me. If you'd like to talk to Spider personally right now, I'll have him come over and talk to you. And when you're on stage, I talk about Jerry Lee Lewis Blood because when you're on there, you have to be there. You know, it's not like you're not fooling around. You're there for a purpose, right?
Yeah.
So you don't really want to talk to somebody coming off the stage telling them they're 2 minutes late.
Right.
So his idea was to walk away, and that was probably a good idea.
So he's douchey.
It was a weird thing.
Well, let's separate the man from the music.
No,
it's still
okay.
interesting.
It's all right. Listen,
Wait, was it really?
He might have had a hard day. You know, that's okay.
Really, 2 minutes over?
Yeah.
And he wanted to go make a beef about that.
Yeah, he did. And my guitar tech, who was one of the greatest guys in the world, known him for like 15 years. He worked for me. He was a fantastic guy. And he just said, you want to talk to Spider? Go talk to him right now. He did not want to. No, I'm not a tough guy. Let's put that out there. But when you're on stage and you're coming off,
You're fired up.
You're fired up. You're ready, man. Yeah.
So you meet Patricia, who's always
1979.
Always, for me, been a little bit of an enigma. I interviewed her. I haven't seen her make the rounds. I don't know if she's a little bit reclusive. I don't know what word to use. I don't see her out doing game shows and stuff. You know, I'm a judge on the Masked Singer or something.
No.
I don't see
she don't like to do that stuff. First of all, she don't like talking about music and things. You know, she kind of leaves that to me as our musical partnership is together, right? She always said she has the best job in the world and I have the worst one because I'm the guy that's got to make the records and do everything else. But that's what I love the most is arranging and producing and stuff. But she just don't like talking about it. She's very educated, super intelligent, went to school every day of her life, never got in trouble, great grades. Just a real kind of normal person. So when I met her, it was like, wow, I don't think I've ever been around a normal girl before.
And rock and roll's tough too, right?
Yeah, and she wasn't that. So her thing is, this is what I do. I sing. That's all I want to do is sing. I'm happy with it. I don't want to talk about it. That's kind of it.
Yeah, I get it.
Cool with it. Yeah, it's cool. It's all good.
Yeah, you talk to... It's interesting, people that are just not interested in that part of the game.
Yeah, and you everybody has their own personality, and there's nothing about control or narcissism that you want to be a narcissist and it's all about you or whatever like that. That doesn't live in our house, and it doesn't live in our world. We're just two regular people that got really cool jobs.
Yeah, and so you guys met in 79?
Yeah, we put the first band together in 1979. We came here to Glen Oaks Boulevard, Glendale, to do the first record.
Really?
Which is really close to here. I was going to actually drive by it just to take a look. Yeah, MCA Whitney was called. Yeah.
Wow, and first album was huge, right?
Heat in the Night, yeah. We used to come here every day. I lived in Woodland. No, was it Woodland Hills? Yeah, Woodland Hills, and it always seemed like it took forever to get here. But even as the traffic's a lot better then than it is now, certainly.
Yeah,
but
that's a haul. What's on one end of the valley?
But it was cool coming here. It was really. I had a great time. Every day we came to the studio. It was fantastic.
Who wrote those songs?
Well, a lot of them were cover songs. I wrote "We Live for Love," which is the second single from the record. But then the next record is where we started writing more and everything for records going further out. So we were there every day. It was fantastic.
The business was really different back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was cool. I have great memories of the place. I loved that place.
Who were some of the guys you toured with back in the day? Maybe open for you, or you open for them? Or you guys were so big, so fast. You probably didn't do a lot of opening.
Yeah, it went pretty fast. I was doing an interview yesterday, and I was talking about the time in the very beginning. Maybe it was our 5th show. We were opening up for Eddie Money, and Eddie Money's mother came up to us when Eddie was standing there and says, Eddie, they should be the ones that are closing, not you.
Sounds like my mom.
And Ed is like, Rodney Dangerfield. So he says, yeah, sure, Mom, whatever you want.
Eddie Mahoney.
Eddie Mahoney, yeah. Great guy, too.
It happens that a record breaks huge for an opening act in the middle of the tour.
Correct.
And then at some
then
point,
what do you do? Yeah.
God help the headliner, because they're getting all the spins and they're blowing up, but they weren't blowing up 2 months ago when the tour began.
Yeah, our beginning was not slow. In the first couple shows, next day was like maybe 30 people, and the next one it was 500. Next thing you know, we had to do the same set over again, twice the same night because we didn't have enough songs.
Oh wow!
We had to do it over. So
and you were selling enough tickets to add the next show.
I'm saying the same night.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens in comedy. They just go, do it again.
You're right.
We'll do another show.
That's kind of what we did. Yeah.
Did you guys ever? I do hear stories about bands who open for other bands sort of showing up the headliner by hitting it a little too hard. I mean, it's sort of sue me, we're good.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's stories of the headliner saying, wrap it up or bring it down a notch, or has that ever happened to you guys?
I don't know, but at that time, there weren't a whole lot of bands that want to go on after us. Yeah.
Yes.
No question. We as a band, we were a pretty mighty powerhouse, more than I think what people thought. Because they saw the one name on the record, they thought, oh, it's just a girl singer. She's doing. When you come out, we were a band, and a loud rocking band, and. Yeah, and I can't remember who we of us opening for people. I just can't remember a lot of that because it happened so quick. Next thing you know, we were doing bigger venues. It happened kind of fast. And you're so young, you can't remember anything. It's just moving at such a fast pace.
Yeah, touring the world.
Yeah, just kind of do it. But if interesting thing because of comedy. Rick Newman's Catch a Rising Star, you aware of that place in New York? Because that's a place we used to go to because our manager was Rick Newman. So after every day we rehearsed in New York City, because that's where we lived before we moved out here, we would go to the his comedy place. We hung out with more comedians than we did musicians. So.
Did Pat, I heard that Pat was classically trained or an opera singer. That's what I would hear, but I never
classically
knew
trained.
it.
Yeah, in school, high school.
And she hails from where?
Long Island.
And she just had that. I mean, what she has, I guess, is sort of a gift.
Sure, it's an enormous gift. Yeah.
And it's hard to fake it or substitute for it.
Yeah, you either got that thing or you don't. She has it, and it's great. I mean, she's got one of the greatest voices of anyone in the universe.
Yeah. Who do you like? Do you got voices you like out there?
I like her. She's good, man.
She is. Yeah. She is. I'm trying to think of.
I like Luciano Pavarotti. I loved him. I mean, he was great. There's certain singers, they don't have to be great singers to like them.
Yeah, like a style.
Yeah, like Jack White. I like Jack White. I like what he does. He's got a lot of style. He's his own sound. He's his own thing. I like that. Certainly John Wayne is, and I work with a lot of people that were great. Beth Hart's a great singer, phenomenal singer. But yeah.
Are there people you wanted to work with that, beside Ozzy, that just didn't work out?
I'm trying to think of, there was probably a list of them, but right now I can't think of it. But yeah, I was producing, the problem was I was starting to produce a lot. And it was all going on at the same time as we were supposed to go on the road. So that was a difficulty because I couldn't do it. So I had to put the brakes on it. Either that or shift over and say, okay, I'm going to quit the band, which the press had me quitting the band, and I was going to join the Pretenders at one time. That didn't happen. Yeah, but that's not true. That wasn't going to happen. But that's the press running out of control. But I would have just stayed home like Brian Wilson and just produced records. I would have loved that.
It's funny, when I was thinking about female voices, I was thinking about Chrissie Hynde.
The greatest. Yeah, she's great.
I love The Pretenders.
Great.
And I love her voice. And maybe not as, classically technical as Patricia at all, but had her own thing going on.
Own thing, yeah. If you have your own style and your own person and you really sound unique, a lot of people look at that as like a blessing and a curse, but that's a total blessing all the way, I think. And I loved her voice. I still do. She's a phenomenal singer, great songwriter.
Yeah, I was a huge fan. And actually, The Pretenders hit right about the time Pat Benatar
when we came out, same time.
Like 79, 80 is when all that was showing up. And sort of before that, it was all Kansas and Led Zeppelin and sort of REO Speedwagon or something. And then you guys showed up, and Pretenders showed up, and they were like doing something different the sound was different.
Yeah, we were kind of the crack between disco and back to rock and roll, because that disco was kind of hitting pretty hard. In fact, when we released Heartbreaker, they didn't want to play the record because there's too much guitar on it, because that's not what they wanted. America. And it was brave disc jockeys up in Oregon and Seattle, up in Washington, that started playing the record. And that's who broke us. They did.
Oh, really?
And so when it started, the Northwest, so once that happened, we just came down and went over, through the country then. But not at first. They wouldn't play it. They said, not too much guitar on it. We won't play it.
Did Pat not want to do those videos, all the MTV videos and stuff? I don't mean not want to do, but I don't know.
She
seems
them.
like
I mean,
a person that likes the quieter side of this.
No, she didn't mind doing them. She kind of liked them. I hated them because it took time away from me being in a studio, because you go to do that, it's like a 10-hour day.
Right.
And you had to do it for a couple of days, 2-3 days. A video, it's like, I can't be around here. You're not acting, you're not talking. You don't have lines.
Well, they had budgets back then.
They had big budgets.
And they'd shoot them. I used to work on those videos because I worked at the soundstage at A&M. I'd have to paint it. And they'd do the Tubes videos. And they did a Van Halen. Tubes were a weird band.
I like the Tubes. But the part of the thing that was weird for us is that for the guys, the guys in the band, I had some really good looking hair going, looking good, I'm feeling good. The video starts, it's not the first take. By the time you get to the 25th take, nobody cares about your hair. And all of a sudden, you don't even look the same as you started. So, they ignore you. And you end up looking like a chooch for your whole life on video. So,
but getting spins on MTV back in the day, that had to just put things over the top. And then also, I guess, all of a sudden, people recognize you. Because we didn't formally know what Pat Benatar looked like per se. I mean, it was an album cover, but you could go out to eat.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden you're getting spins on MTV, and you guys go out to dinner and you get bothered, right?
That changed, because everywhere you go, they know it's you guys. So it's like, it was all right.
You were all right with that?
Not really, but it's okay now.
Everything's okay now.
It's the day you go out and get the paper on the lawn and you see 15 people that go, hey, and I said, wait, hold on a second, trying to just get the newspaper here.
Yeah, I guess it's baked in.
Yeah, it's okay.
With
all
the
fine.
Success and all that.
It's all good. People are nice. Nice people out there.
I say people are nice all the time.
Yeah.
People come up, say hi all the time.
Yeah.
They're nice.
You just hear about the loud ones that aren't good. But, if they're not loud, they're nice people, and they're everywhere. You just got to run into them.
Yeah.
Right?
You're a
nice guy. I like you. You're like happy and stuff. You're fun.
I would, listen.
He's turning red a little bit. I'm sorry to make you red.
I'm flattered. When someone wants to take a picture, say hi.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just flattered. That's all.
It's an honor.
What's the alternative?
It's an honor to do that. We all should be thankful that we have opportunities. And I call it a job just because it's work, right? But it's not really work. It's not really a job. But you have to call it a job because you're working.
How many dates you guys do a year? Are you going out?
I don't know. We're going out. I don't know. I don't keep track of that. Maybe, I don't know, 100 shows? Or no, I don't know, 60 shows this year or something we'll do. Something like that, I think. I honestly, I don't. Because I'm in the studio and I write so much. I was telling the guys backstage here that I get up at 3:30 every day, and I start writing from
3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, every day. And I write music, I write screenplays, I do all that stuff.
You set your alarm for 3:30.
No, it's here. My alarm is here. I don't need no alarm.
In your
just
head.
wake up.
You wake up.
And I want to wake up. So
what time do you go to bed?
It could be 9:30, it could be 11:30.
But you get up at 3:30.
3:30.
And you write.
No matter what. Even when I changed time zones.
And so you get up and write.
Yes.
And it could be a screenplay.
Right. So the point is that when I get on the road, I don't think about it because then I'm more of a teenager because now I can just play the instruments and play guitar and piano, and I don't have to have a schedule, have a guy that a road manager tells me when I have to be somewhere, what I have to do. So then I don't have anything to really think about other than doing that. I still write.
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
you know what I'm talking about.
Listen, I just got off doing some dates, and at some point when your domestic life gets busy, you actually long for the thing where the car just picks you up and you just drop you off, and you only work 90 minutes a night, really, but it's still work, and you still get paid like it's a full day or maybe a week, and you just go, I'm going to have a drink and go back to the hotel now. And whatever's going on that you're supposed to be doing, you don't need to do it because you're out doing this.
Correct.
And I've said a million times, I started to realize I was too busy when I started to look forward to cross-country flights. Where I'd go, I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah, just relax,
I'm just going to lean back and have someone bring me a cocktail, and I'm not going to answer anything or do anything. But you relinquish your schedule to the tour schedule.
Correct.
And you don't feel compelled to do a bunch of productive stuff because you're on tour.
Correct.
You're playing. You got a gig. You're doing a show.
You have to have you have to have your energy right for the gig.
Right.
So if you have 9 hours before you do that gig, you can't get to that relaxed state where you have to be ready. Right?
Well, I don't know. You know, it's interesting. I love me a nap before a show.
But that's okay. I'm talking about, could you go see a movie during the day?
No, I'll tell you what I can't do.
I couldn't ever do that.
I can't go out to dinner and then go do a show. Well, everyone goes, oh, the second show ends at midnight. We got to go to dinner at 5. And I go, I don't want to go to dinner at 5 because after I eat, I'd take a nap.
That's exactly right.
That's all this.
That's my point. That's my point exactly. You have to be on. You have to be ready. You can't take the liberty. Can't have those liberties of just doing what you normally do. Listen, I'm going to go to dinner, then I'm going to come back to the studio. That's a different deal.
Do you feel a sense when you perform, and it's not ego, but it's like you want people to walk away and go, man, that guy's good.
Yeah, of course.
And what you don't want to do is walk away and read a tweet going, maybe he's a little off his game, or he's in a bad mood, or he's tired, or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You got to prove it.
Yeah.
Element.
Yeah. Every night. Yeah. It's the same as being an athlete. And I was talking about that yesterday too. Kobe Bryant. You know, when you get a certain age too, you have to live like Kobe Bryant lived. Extreme health. You got to really pay attention to your health. You know, how many people that says, you know, they drink before they play and they're getting a little buzz or whatever, and they go, man, I played great tonight. You know, I'm not so sure. You might want to listen to the tape. A lot of times you think you are.
Yeah.
You know, so an athlete. And Bill Cowher, the coach for the Steelers, Coach Cowher, had a great thing. He's always said when a player made something bad, he would pull him close to him. He goes, you owe me. So then when he went out and did something good, he goes, we're even.
Wow.
So that's the kind of mindset that we hit the stage with. And the other thing, too, if people are interested in knowing this, before going on the road, like you're going on and you're going to do your show, your energy is there, but it's not over the top. It's kind of mellow. You get mellow because we get really super mellow before hitting the stage because you're trying to conserve, right?
It's a thing, I don't know, we've talked about on the show, which is when people, it's not anxiety, but when you're thinking about the event.
Rather than being in it.
You yawn.
Yeah.
I always had a football coach yell at me, am I boring you, Mr. Carolla? Because I was back sitting in the back of the locker room, look like I'm going to fall asleep. But your body goes into a kind of almost a mode that goes, I need to preserve maximum amounts of energy.
That's exactly right.
And then when we walk out, it's all going to be with full charge on that battery.
Correct.
So there's much more talking in the green room after the show than there is
no question.
Before the show. And I don't know if you've ever gotten this, but sometimes you'll get that person that's just impervious to what you're about to do. And they come walking in and they go, hey, it's Jim Hyman. You know me. I run the old guitar store. Hey, I got a friend of mine. Could you talk to him? And you're going, we're going up in 10 minutes. He goes, yeah, but could you just say something to him on the phone? And you want to be rude, but you want to go just a little. I just want some space. And then right after the show, you can come back and we'll talk it up. We'll have a drink. We'll have a laugh. But just right now.
That's why I have a road manager. That's a good one because you won't have those people around. Actually, the one I hate the most is somebody will come in and go, I got a funny story. And when they say that, I went, it's not going to be funny and you got to get out. Don't do that now.
I think that the nicest version of this is I just go, after the show, I'll be more than happy to hang out, hear the story, and take the picture.
Question.
But for right now,
it's impossible.
Get my thoughts in order.
We hardly ever get that happening, but maybe it'll be maybe one of our own crew guys talking about something before the show that you don't really need to hear. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's good. I like your focus.
Yeah.
Intensity. Passion.
Yeah. Got to be there, man.
Got to be there. Writing songs at 3:30 in the morning, writing movies.
Yeah, because I want to be awake. It wakes me up. I wake up wanting to be awake. And there I am. Green tea, a lot of it. I just keep drinking it. I keep scribbling. And then 5 hours later, wake Patricia up, and the dog's with me. She wakes up about the same time. She's living with me. She hangs with me. She's real cool. Honey Girl, her name is.
The dog, not Patricia.
No, Honey Girl.
And songs. Now, do you know when you're on to something like hit wise?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No question.
Are you writing lyrics or are you writing notes?
Both. Just both. I start with a title. A lot of people, great writers, write a song and then they just put a title afterwards. I start with the title and work up from there. Right? And then while I'm writing the words and I'm going there, melodies may be coming in, and then I'll go right to the melody and forget the words and always sneak back to the words to put the finished part on it. But yeah, because I have OCD, and of course everybody has ADHD or ADD. If I start on one song, I'll already move to the other one before I finish it, and then I'll start another one before I finish that. And before you know it, I'll have 11 that are unfinished. But I will come back around. I don't know, after maybe 30, I'll sneak back up on them.
Are you writing songs for you and Patricia, or are you writing songs for other bands?
I'm writing songs, just writing songs. I am in the process of doing a solo record where I'm going to have special guests come on and sing and maybe do a part on a song as well. So I'm working on one of those, and then I have a holiday record, Christmas record I've been working on forever. It's not a Frosty the Snowman record, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it has nothing to do with religion, has nothing to do with Christmas or Hanukkah, anything like that. It's what happens, you should know this, what happens from November 1st to February 1st every year. When it starts getting closer to November, people maybe their relationships are breaking up, or maybe they're getting back together again. Then the new year breaks, and all of a sudden their resolutions begin. All of a sudden they want to change their life, make it better, and then they fall back into that same thing on February 1st.
Yeah.
So all songs is all about that period of time.
Wow,
it's all original songs.
But no, that's cool. It's something that's never really been explored.
No, so it's not really a Christmas record. It's just what happens in that period of time.
Well, let me give a plug to the new bourbon, which is outstanding.
Well, thank you very kindly.
I'll say 3 Chord Bourbon. Mm-hmm. It's available at 3chordbourbon.com. You can go there for info. Also, I'm told you can go to Benatar Giraldo, GIRALDO.com for dates. There's dates.
Yeah, you could go to that, or you could go to the official neilgiraldo.com to go for dates on social media stuff.
Great to see you, my friend. I hope you come back soon.
I will. I wanted to mention this Allman Brothers one, this particular backstage series that we're doing, because the end of Hell is for Children, I basically nicked that idea from the end of I forgot what song it was that the Allman Brothers do, but they do. It's on the end. What is that song?
Well, the Allman Brothers have songs that are like three songs
Elizabeth Reed,
put together. No.
Revival.
It's their hit. Oh, not their. It's one of the hits.
It's a ba 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 da 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 da.
Oh wait, is
That's
that
One Way Out.
Tied to the
That's
whipping?
One Way Out.
Yeah, whipping post.
Whipping Post. Yeah, there you
It's
go.
at the end of whipping
Dawson.
post.
Tied to the whipping post.
That's what it is. So we have a great backstage series. We got all these people working, all these bands. I have a great team, a phenomenal team. Best team in the.
Oh Lord, feels like I'm dying.
That's it.
Boom.
Da, do, bum. Yeah. That ba ba dum, ba ba. Yeah, that's it.
Damn band.
Right? Yeah, that's the one.
All right, Neil, thanks for coming in. Chef Gruel's coming in and Mayhem's coming in. We got news, we got talk, we got all that. We'll do that right after this.
Thank you.
Morgan and Morgan. Well, there's a reason why. My opinions hit like a heavyweight punch. No fluff, no fill, just the truth. And that's why there's Morgan and Morgan. America's largest injury law firm for over 35 years. Morgan and Morgan has been fighting for the people just like you and I. They have over 100 offices with more than 1,000 lawyers nationwide. If you're injured by the negligence of another, you deserve to be paid. That's where Morgan & Morgan comes in. When you hire the wrong law firm, well, you may be beat before you even start the fight. All law firms are not the same. And that's why I love Morgan & Morgan. Am I right, Dawson?
If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Adam or dial pound law pound 529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or pound law pound 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
You all know why I started my show, right? To find the truth buried under the bias of liberal media and corporate control. Well, I just want to speak my mind, especially with Trump back in office. It's more important than ever to see through agenda-driven narratives. That's why I want to tell you all about my partners at Ground News. With their independent app and website, you're not at the mercy of media bias and big tech algorithms. You get every outlet covering any story, even the ones mainstream media don't want you to see. Plus, insight on their political lean and financial backing. So you know you're really controlling the narrative. Go to ground.news/Carolla to see how the left's ignoring FEMA firing employees for making unauthorized payments to house migrants in luxury hotels. Meanwhile, you can easily find independent sources like the Center Square, Washington Examiner, or Breitbart calling it what it is, a huge FEMA cover-up. Without Ground News, you'll never know what information you're missing or how biased that information might be. That's why I check Ground News every day to find the truth on the stories I share with you. And because I know how much my viewers would benefit from Ground News too, I'm giving you the same Vantage plan I use for nearly half the price. Just $5 a month for unlimited access. This deal won't last forever, so go to ground.news/Carolla or scan this QR code and start thinking for yourself while supporting independent sources like me.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Port St. Lucie, Florida. A 19-year-old manager of a Wingstop was charged with felony assault and child abuse after responding to a minor knocking straws off the counter by dousing him with hot grease and ranch dressing. Definitely not a Jew.
Thanks to the good people from Alcoa for underwriting that
sponsor that
segment. It's been almost 20 years. Chef Andrew Gruel is back in studio. Got a new cookbook out, Andrew Gruel's Family Cookbook, available where you find finer cookbooks. And also, I every time I open my phone, I just see Andrew on there cooking beef. Rumble, Substack. I think Drew's on the show recently, Cooking with Gruel as well. So congratulations on all that, Andrew.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we had Drew on, just a couple days ago.
Every time I turn on, I got really jealous because I turned it on the other day. Yeah, like I turned on my phone and you said, "Oh, your sons wouldn't go to bed and they were hungry," and then you showed this huge beef platter, and I thought, "Oh man, my dad would never do that."
You wanted to put
Make
your
me
jammies
steak when I was in my little footsies. Yeah. But every time it's not always steak, but it's oftentimes steak.
People send me a lot of steak. I'm not complaining. Trust me. They send me a lot of steak. Try this, try that, try this one, and every single time, right? This is kind of the calculus for kids. They come home, they're hungry, they want a snack. I'm hungry. Dinner time, they don't want to eat, right? It's like, look at my backflip, watch this. They don't eat. Then right before it's time to go to bed, I'm starving. And they know the fridge is just full of steak. So they're like, oh, I want a steak. It's gotten so specific now. My son, who's 4, right? The 6 and the 10-year-old, they're a little bit less refined. My 4-year-old will be like, how about that flat iron that was sent the other day?
Wow, they know it.
How about that picana?
Yeah. What is the new rage in steak? I mean, is it tomahawk? What are we talking about here? I remember you were on the show and you said get the cheaper cut when you go to the steakhouse, more flavorful and what have you, which was interesting. I like the tips.
Yeah, and that was about 3 months ago, and I think since that show did so well, obviously, all those cuts now have been sold out. So now we got to move to like liver, heart, tongue, beef tongue, all the real offal cuts.
My grandfather was Hungarian, would do beef tongue.
Beef tongue's amazing.
And he would do beef tongue as in a big casserole dish with carrots, and he would do it like a pot roast, but it was a beef tongue pot roast. Was a little weird for us who weren't from the old country because he was a Hungarian Jew. So
tender?
He wanted beef. He wanted, he wanted stuffed goose liver and stuff like that. Stuff that was weird to the North Hollywood kid who was me. But yeah, I would call beef tongue very consistent. It was just like it didn't have fatty spots and stuff. It was just like I know it was good. It was weird, but it was good.
Yeah, and it all depends on how much the cow talked, right? If it was on The View, then you're going to get a much tougher tongue. But if it was a cow that sat back and listened, it's going to be more tender, gelatinous like.
Is that a thing, cow tongue now? Is it making a comeback?
It is. There was a video the other day somebody posted. So for 2 reasons. One, now Korean barbecue and Japanese cooking at tableside is huge, right? Where you get the plate of the raw meat and then you kind of throw it on the grill yourself and you cook it. Well, the beef tongue is great for that because it's so marbled and it's got that beautiful connective tissue in there. You slice it thinly, you can grill it, and it's just really rich in flavor. So they're doing a lot of that in the Japanese, Korean style cooking, but then also lengua tacos, right? Which is the tongue tacos.
Yeah, lengua. I was going to say that's the LA version. Yeah.
Because you can get that meat for $2-3 a pound, and the price of everything else has gone up so much. The traditional braised meats, your chuck, your shoulder, right? Those meats that are more your pot roast style meats.
So you're about to artifficially inflate the tongue market.
I'm gonna.
That's cool. That's cool.
That was like sounds like my senior prom.
Nice.
But we so now you got the lengua that. It all goes from the taco trucks, and then you get like 2 celebrity chefs.
They're good, man. I love that.
Yeah.
I always eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's trends that are good, and then trends are bad. We talked about the little stupid cherry tomatoes and the little jewel blossom things that they're
don't get them started on them.
I'm super angry at those. I went on a crusade to find hash browns the other day because you have to look. So there's things such as, okay, hash browns are the best part of breakfast. And the reason is because they mix with everything else. The egg yolk gets in there and the salsa or whatever. But it's great. They're the best. Now, if you live in the middle of Malibu, as I did, now forced to leave, but I lived in the middle of Malibu. There is no place that serves hash browns because it's Malibu and they do new potatoes, they do breakfast potatoes, they do purple potatoes, they do every motherfucking potato except for the one that everyone wants. And it's funny because it's not me being a weirdo. Everybody I eat breakfast with, I go, you want hash browns? Yeah, I got hash browns, but this place has new potatoes. They don't have it. And so every place up and down the coast, because it's Malibu and it's highfalutin, they don't want to lower themselves because they're not a Waffle House and they're not a Denny's, so you can't get hash browns. And so I was out on the road and I said to Mike, we're finding breakfast, but we have to find... We're not doing breakfast unless we got some goddamn hash browns.
I've been cutting carbs and I ate a potato. It was heavenly.
Like what kind of potato?
This was like a half, like a fingerling cut in half. Real classy affair.
That's a reimagined potato, is what I like to say.
Look, here's the deal. Do all you experiments you want with your purple and your new and your breakfast potatoes, but you have to have hash browns.
What's your favorite potato?
Well, so all-purpose, right? And I agree with what you're saying about hash browns. Hash browns are the conversation piece because hash browns are not potatoes. Yes, they're potatoes, but hash browns are different. They're their own category. So when I start seeing people mix regular roasted potatoes, home fries, into that hash brown category, it's like, no, you can't do that. You can't serve me lasagna and tell me it's pizza because the ingredients are the same, and hash browns are the same way. There's only one type of hash brown, and it is a derivative of the potato latke.
Oh, the latke, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
funny and taxi too. Yeah, it's a little milky in the middle, and then it's golden on the outside, and that's how we like it.
And then where those little edges come out, like the sun rays, if you're looking through a telescope, those are the best because those fry a little extra crisp in the butter. And then it's the fat you use too, right? So traditionally in like Jewish cuisine, they would use schmaltz, which is rendered chicken fat. So you get that deep and rich fatty flavor in there. Then they started switching to beef tallow 30, 40 years ago in the diners, right? The real diner. Then they switched to the seed oils, and now it's just some butter alternative. It's margarine. But if you find a diner that's doing either toasted butter or beef tallow on their flat top and doing hash browns the right way, you hit culinary nirvana. You're done. You're out. You're done.
There's another trend that is bothering me, which is I like Brussels sprouts. I like that they've had a renaissance. They were, there were a punchline from the 70s where the kids would go, Brussels sprouts. Eat your Brussels. I don't want the Brussels. Yeah. It's like gin and Brussels sprouts. They had a day, and then no one drank it, and then no one's gin. That tastes like cleaning fluid, and now gin's back. So we have a weird, inconsistent relationship with Brussels sprouts and gin. We shun it, we embrace, then we shun, then we long for it again. Okay, but you gotta fucking cook them. Yeah. They do this poached braised thing all the time, and next thing you know, I'm hearing crunching sounds come out of my mouth when I'm eating a half a Brussels sprout. I'm like, oh, you didn't cook them? They go, no, we do this thing where we brown them with bacon or whatever, and I'm like, I want them cooked. Brussels sprouts are hard. Okay, let's riddle me this. All right, let's just do a simple thought experiment, Chef. Okay,
I'm ready.
One could enjoy a raw carrot, and one could enjoy a cooked carrot. I'll enjoy both. I love cooked carrots with my meal. You cannot enjoy a raw Brussels sprout. You can't bite, and you can't go buy a Brussels sprout and then go, I'm just eating some Brussels sprouts here like popcorn. It's not doable. So don't make it half cooked. If the uncooked version of it is not edible, then don't make it half unedible. That's all I'm saying. Cook the fucking Brussels sprouts.
So I'll take this intellectual adventure to another level, and I'll break it down by what Brussels sprouts are. They're mini cabbages.
They're mini cabbages.
Would you take a bite of a raw cabbage?
No.
Would you braise cabbage meltingly tender? Of course. And what's traditionally done with bacon, caramelized onions, same with Brussels sprouts. If you're forcing me to cook Brussels sprouts raw, I'm going to shred them completely or do a nice fine dice on them. I'm going to marinate them like a slaw. And I'm going to serve it chilled in a salad so that acid breaks it down. It's the only way I'll eat it raw.
So
what happened?
Like a cabbage.
I think what happened is we do this new thing at steakhouses where you take big Brussels sprouts, we cut them in half, and then we kind of glaze them and brown them. You know?
They throw them in the fryer. They throw them in the deep fryer.
Right, but I'm like, you're not cooking them.
Yep.
They're not cooked.
Well, you're overcooking the outside, and the inside's still raw. So if you are going to do that and you want to be fancy, you do what's called blanching, where you take the Brussels sprouts and you cook them in heavily salted water for about 2 to 3 minutes, let them boil. That cooks them all the way through.
Yes.
Then you do the finished pickup in the hot fat, the hot oil.
What I normally do is I eat one of them at the restaurant. I go, these fucking things are raw. And then I bring them home, and then I steam them at home. Like I blanch them at home. I put a little water in, and I finish the cooking process. But that's not part of my job, restaurant. I feel like that's on you.
Yeah, that's rough, though, because let's be honest, secondhand Brussels sprouts out of the refrigerator, your house smells like somebody just took a number 7.
Is there? How do these trends get started, and why don't more people complain?
They get started by way of usually 1 or 2, viral moments, whether it's a celebrity chef or it's like somebody. Now it's the influence that the housewives have on TikTok is unbelievable. Like they'll make something with, little popover muffins and some pepperoni, and the next thing you know, some $50 plate restaurant's doing it. So it's 1 or 2 people that are just pushing these things into the algorithm, and then everybody wants to do it. That's why, if I'm going into like menu development mode, I have to go through an electronic I have to remove myself for like 6 weeks, and I just have to let my inner culinary spirit come out.
What is, all right, this is going to be possibly controversial, but Chef, you and I are simpatico on many of these things. It's not because we have the same taste, it's because we're right. But the fucking mini tomatoes. Okay. What? And there's no right or wrong answers, although there may be some wrong answers, I will tell you. But we're connected. What is the best omelet? Like, what is the best stuff for an omelet? And I can move around a little bit with this. I have some lateral movement. Like, I can go with a Denver omelet. I love onion, and the cheese is good. Ham, I kind of would rather have sausage in there than ham, but like a Denver omelet's its own thing. A Spanish omelet's like fine. I know people order shit in omelets makes me angry, because when the person orders the omelet, especially if it's a chick, I go, well, I'm going to be having a couple bites of that omelet, so I hope you order the right thing. But oftentimes they don't. But what is good? Okay, let's start with somebody ordered an omelet. It was in here. It had American cheese in it. And I was like, oh, fucking really? But sometimes it's not your fault, because they just go, you want cheese in an omelet? And people go, yeah, I'll take some cheese. And they just put the American cheese in there. But what's your omelet? What do you go to? Give me some options.
I hate to answer a question with a question, but we got to at least define what's the structure. Are we talking stuffed and filled omelet, or omelet with the ingredients peppered into the eggs, which I don't like?
Well, first off, if you're doing an on top of omelet, you need to say something, because people go, we put the cheese and the tomatoes, and then it shows up and it's on.
Oh, you mean literally on top?
Yeah, I'm like, that's not an omelet. Omelet is a sleeping bag, and you got to get in it.
That's a toupee. That's a
bad toupee. All right, I mean traditional in the omelet.
Yeah, so that's going to be the Denver omelet. You're 100% correct.
I knew it. But simpatico.
But let me explain why. Why. There's reason behind this. Because number one, you need a protein. Okay, so you want to go with the ham because you don't want it to be too overpowering. That could take away from some of the egg and the butter and the richness. You want to have the cheese in there, but you need the aromatic, because eggs need something to kind of make it pop a little bit more.
Aromatic is
the peppers.
Peppers.
You get that aromatic from the peppers, a little bit of bite, and the only problem with the Denver omelet is it lends an opportunity to screw it up, because you can't throw the ham in raw. You got to crisp the ham a little bit on the flat top with the peppers, and then you fold it in. Then you can use a cheese that doesn't have the melt factor of an American, like a white sharp cheddar or even a Munster, and then it melts in with the hot ingredients when you fold it over. Perfect by the time it hits your table.
Wow, Denver, love it.
Yeah,
and what do we do beyond that? Like, give me some deeper cuts. Like, I kind of like ground beef in an omelet, although I rarely do it, but I'm all right with it. I like sausage in an onion. Sausage in an omelet. I love onion. I want to put onion on everything, especially like in omelets. Onion is like like a food muse. It just makes everyone better. Everything around it just gets better.
Yeah, it's a sockle. It's a sockle. It's also in a way it's a condiment, right? Like the purpose of condiments isn't to cover flavors, it's to amplify flavors.
Yes.
And onions used properly are exactly that. Although they need to be either sliced thinly, pickled, or sautéed. A big fat chunk of raw onion when you're not expecting it, that can ruin the weekend.
What are some other omelet thoughts?
Well, if you're doing
sausage,
sausage, I'm crumbling out of the casing. I'm not doing sliced, right?
You want to crumble.
I want crumbled sausage out of the casing. I love mushrooms in the omelets.
I like
eggs and mushrooms. But the thing with mushrooms is you got to make sure that they're not bleeding, right? I say mushrooms, they sweat a lot.
Yeah.
And they sit in their juices, and then that starts to taste dirty. So you got to saute the mushrooms hard, make sure they're crispy, buttery, get those in the omelet so that there's nothing that bleeds. But let's talk about the eggs itself. You got to whisk some creme fraiche or heavy cream into the actual egg.
Oh, really?
Right? So you get that fluff factor, mix the air in there, and then that way when you're eating the omelet with the ingredients, each bite is even, right? There's a calculus to each bite.
So a little creme fraiche.
Creme fraiche whipped in before you cook it. Right?
Okay.
With a whisk.
With a whisk.
Whisk it in there.
Just whisk it. And people cook their eggs over way too high heat. So you got to start with low heat on the omelet, a lot of butter in there, because otherwise you're browning the exterior. There's nothing worse than browned eggs.
Yeah.
That's why frittatas and quiches are so bad. It's like browned eggs is the worst taste in the world. It tastes like you're eating the bottom of your grandfather's shoe, which I had to do once.
So mushrooms good.
Mushrooms
onions good.
Yep. Caramelized onions.
Take the if you're gonna do the sausage, break it up, crumble it.
Yeah. And if I'm doing tomatoes, I'm not doing raw tomatoes. I'm actually going to do a little dash of tomato sauce, sweet and spicy tomato sauce on the inside, then layer over that. So with each bite, you get a little bit of that sauce in there.
Yeah.
That's why ketchup is so good with eggs, because the acid in the ketchup cuts through the richness of the eggs. So you're not overwhelmingly rich, but you can do the same thing without the sugar, i.e. the tomato sauce.
Now, listen, what you're talking about is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just never going to happen.
Well, it's not going to happen generally
You
speaking.
can do it at home.
Yeah.
But you're going to have trouble conveying it to the guy who ICE is going after right now in that kitchen back there. So he's looking over his shoulder. He's not looking at your tomatoes.
That's why it's incumbent upon restaurant owners to set the proper operating protocols, put them in place, and then let the machines, the guys who are just humping food out, follow the right recipe. That's the key right there. But I'll tell you what, like when we posted our thing about the steak and the vein, and then I posted it up on Instagram, we talked about this on the strip steak. I said, don't order the strip steak. I'm still getting comments every day with people telling me what an idiot I am. So, we can make an impact here.
People get
You're right.
They get tribal and they get territorial when it comes to food. My feeling is mixed. I think we can look. So first off, it's called taste, and your taste is your taste, and sometimes there's your taste, and then sometimes you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? And I can't argue with everyone over their taste, but there are people that like American cheese better than real cheese, and that just makes you a fucking retard. We're not accounting for your taste, And there are people like the super chewy kind of middle thick pizza crust that's just doughy and chewy and stuff. Like I listen. You want to go thick crust, Chicago style, fine. Other than that, you go New York style, but don't go the middle of the road, chewy crust. But that's you. That's your bad taste. But now back to pizza. You brought up, this is very controversial. You brought up wanting the crumbled sausage in the omelet, but then there's pizza with sausage, which I order, and sometimes I get crumbled, and sometimes I get the discs of the sausage. Now, I like the discs better as a topping on a pizza. I've also figured out that it's the cheaper places that do the crumble traditionally, and the discs are the better places. But where do you come down on sausage on pizza, crumble or disc?
See, I'm an East Coast guy, so it was always crumbles growing up. The Italian sausage crumbled. Now, I didn't hit the discs until I started moving out west, and I realized the discs, it's a matter of the quality of the discs and the quantity.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this in the past. It depends on who's making the pizza that day. You might get 3 discs or you get 300 discs.
Right.
And if I do the discs, though, just like the pepperoni, right? I want that crispy pepperoni cup where the oil kind of kind of pools inside of it. So when you take a bite, the oil drips out.
Cups up on the outside.
Yeah, not that floppy pepperoni that's undercooked. The same goes with the sausage. If I'm slicing it, I want it to curl a little bit, right? So you curl and you pool some of the juices, and then the cheese oil drips in there. You're good to go on the discs.
What do we do? I do. Like, I rarely do garlic on a pizza, but garlic is probably awesome on a pizza. I just
Roasted
never order
garlic.
it. Roasted garlic.
Yeah. The garlic should come through in the sauce, right? You don't have to overwhelm everywhere. I know some people are like, you don't like garlic, go home. Yeah, that works, but, I didn't know. Did you know that Dr. Drew is allergic to garlic?
Oh, wow.
Dr. Drew.
I've been trying to poison him for years.
Dr. Drew says if he touches a piece of garlic to his tongue, he's not right for a few days.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I went out to dinner with him in the System of a Down guys at Carousel restaurant in
Did you
Glendale.
ever get the appetizer?
I can't remember.
Okay.
We got 2 of everything.
All right, great.
And we were just devouring everything, and I was living with Drew at the time, and he explained to me he was not right.
Yeah.
After that,
Wow.
for a while, which is, if somebody said to me no more garlic, I would just kill myself. I would. I love garlic so much, and if you said no spices, no spice, Dr. Drew cannot do garlic, spice, peppers. It's all gone. It's all off the table for him, which would be a very empty life for me.
How
I'm
long
surprised
does it
he
take
can
you
go on,
to open a garlic? Because for me, it's bloody hands, and what the hell? I'm looking
you mash
YouTube
them?
video. You mash it? What the hell, bro? Unlock the mystery.
The trick is you take the whole bulb, right? And then you put all your weight on it and just push it down. And go for it. And then they'll all come out in one shot, right?
Then what?
And then from there, you just take your knife and you just start going through, and then you can peel them right out. But you got to be bold. You got to be confident. Go for it. Yeah.
Smash, and then spread, and then
Exactly.
tick.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's some jujitsu in there.
I know, that's what I mean. A little arm bar on the thing. Yeah.
What's the hot fish right now? Because I have not heard any fish talk. Like stuff used to get in vogue. Swordfish was a thing for a while. Then we decided something wasn't nice to the swordfish, and then we got into salmon. Salmon got real big and real hot for a while. Then tilapia got really hot, and then branzino got hot. Don't know what the hot fish is right now, or how we're doing it.
Barramundi.
Barramundi.
Is you're seeing a lot more barramundi pop up.
What is barramundi?
It's Australian sea bass, right? Although it's an easy fish to actually farm or wild raise, right? You can do it in open pens in the wild, or you can do it in a closed contained system. But it's vegetarian fed, right? So you're not taking fish from the wild in order to create a pound of edible fish, which in a way is kind of inherently sustainable. The problem with that is you get lower on the omega-3 scale, but they figured out a way to add it back in some of the fish feed. So you're seeing barramundi across restaurants everywhere because it's incredibly delicious. It's not a muddy tasting fish. Most vegetable fed fish are kind of muddy because they're eating off the bottom of freshwater environments. But and it's cheaper, right? It's like $6 or $7 a pound commercially. So restaurants can put that on, put their environmental seal of approval on there. Call
Is it a freshwater fish? Did you say?
It's both, right? It can be brackish water, which is fresh and salt water. So you can kind of raise it in a freshwater system with a little bit of salt water introduced. So you get a nice kind of oceanic whisper or kiss in the flavor without the mud of a freshwater fish.
And how do they? What's the way to prepare fish? Because I don't know that much about it.
I see people try and grill the fish or cook it really hard and make it crispy. Fish, by its nature, is very delicate. So I always say go really low and slow and gentle with a lot of butter, a lot of citrus, fresh herbs. Either do it in the oven, do it in a pan. Stay away from that incredibly high heat, because all you're doing with the high heat is just drying it out. And you don't need to dry the fish out to get any flavor, right? Like, you sear hard to get flavor from the browning, but the offset is that it's drying it out. So there's always that balance. But with fish, it's got so much flavor, you don't need to do that. You can do a nice, low, gentle cook, which you're seeing a lot more now. Years ago, one of the trends that was big was this olive oil poached salmon, where they would actually slow poach it at like 180 degrees in extra virgin olive oil, and it came out, and when you pulled it out, it looked raw. But then you cut into it and it was fully cooked. Wolfgang Puck was doing that. And then you ready for this one? You know what was born out of that? Dishwasher salmon.
Oh, what is that?
Where you take salmon
and inside a foil. And put it. Wow.
And then you put it in the dishwasher, which runs at like 160 degrees, and it would poach in the dishwasher, and it would come out looking like this olive oil poached salmon. So for in the 90s and the early 2000s, everyone's like, "Look at my dishwasher salmon." It's a true story.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember there was a fish trend 30 years ago where you took foil and then you put a bunch of mayonnaise and a bunch of stuff and lemon and stuff, and then you closed it up in the foil. And it was like, I don't know, fish with mayonnaise and whatever on it. I don't know. That was
white trash special. What are you talking about? I love that.
I didn't know about the mayonnaise piece. That comes from a traditional French dish called fish and papillote, which is fish and paper. So the idea is whatever you put in there, it flavors the steam, and then the steam cooks back into it. And then obviously somebody from Ohio added aluminum foil and mayonnaise
and Miracle Whip.
How do you know my mom's from Ohio?
So, for you, the cookbook, what are some of the staples in the cookbook?
So with the cookbook, I just take dishes everybody knows, and then we do them our own way to make it easy and not use a ton of seed oils and processed ingredients. So like the Cheez-Its, we make our own Cheez-Its. It's like 3 or 4 ingredients. It's really easy to make, right? Cheez-Its, we actually do like some omelet in there. We do the eggs. We do breakfast pizza. How about that one?
What's in there?
Eggs on pizza.
We
do bacon and a couple fried eggs on the pizza for breakfast. Making your own fresh dough. We do a ton of desserts in there. So what I did was it's 50 recipes, but I had my kids, all 4 kids from 4 to 14, test all the recipes. If it didn't work, I said do it again. Because if you think about it, the 22-year-old that just got into leaving college, he's got the same culinary aptitude as a 4-year-old in many cases. So it's really a grand audience. So if my kids could do it in that age range, then I knew the book would be, well accepted by anybody.
I know you're political as well, and you have a voice for that. I do understand that you run a business and businesses and there's business, there's like a spectrum, you know what I mean? Like, so at the very low end of the spectrum in terms of what you require the government to do is kind of my family. My family was grandma worked at the VA administration and mom got welfare and food stamps. So they didn't really scream that hard about why they paying all these taxes and not getting anything in return, because they weren't paying much in taxes and they relied on the government for survival. Then there's a kind of middle road where like you're like an attorney and you have a few people who work under you and you have to pay payroll taxes and you rent some space out and stuff like that, and that's like you dislike the government a little more because you get hit with these weird taxes and OSHA and then at some point you let some guy go and he sues you for wrongful termination even though you didn't know he was gay, and he makes a big fucking deal out of it, and then somebody just goes, just give him $80,000, it's going to cost more if he gets into this, and you go, what the fuck kind of system is this where everyone just gets to sue you when they leave? And so you learn to hate the government a little more. Then there's like, I run a construction outfit, and now you got some permits and you got OSHA and you got the guy fell off the ladder and he's suing you, and now they need an environmental impact report and blah blah blah, and you learn to hate the government even more. And then you open a restaurant.
Yeah.
And when you open a restaurant, you take all of the employee stuff and all the code and all the health code and all the stuff, and it's all on you and the regulatory system. And that's when you learn to despise the government because of all the regulatory system that they're putting on you. People, I don't know, they think I'm bullshitting. I just went out. I've worked every single weekend the last 3 weekends, and shows all of, I've been all over the place the last 3 weekends. And people go like, well, who's the winner in this equation? Is it me? Is it my kids? Is it my ex-wife? Yes, they're all winners because I'm out working. But the real winner is the government. Yep. At At least I know them. It's the government. Where Carolla's working another Sunday, and we're wetting our beak. And then people want to know why I'm the problem, who chooses to fucking work. My grandmother never worked a weekend her entire fucking life because she worked for the VA in Westwood, and they ain't open on Saturdays, or if they are, she ain't coming in. So fuck y'all, number one, because we're keeping the lights on around here. But when you open a restaurant, that is the perfect storm of governmental intrusion. Because it goes from the food that's being inspected to the physical space that is being leased or rented or bought, and the taxes and the whatever, to the payroll, to the permits necessary to open the second store. And yes, you hate the government because you should hate the government because they're insanely intrusive and greedy. And that's how mild-mannered chefs over here turn into Waco and Ruby Ridge, angry patriots.
Yeah, so how close are you to overthrowing the government, Chef Gruel?
I'm right up at the window right now determining what hammer's going to break the glass. So, I mean, and I've been railing about this for years, and I was always involved and interested in politics, but strictly from understanding the framework, right, of how to operate business better by dodging some of these barriers when it comes to the restaurant industry. Every single piece of the restaurant industry comes directly back to the government. Or rather, I could flip that upside down and say, bring up any political issue, even on a federal level, and I'll bring it right back down to the restaurant. Because, as you say, we are the primary filter through which every single topic can directly connect to the government. Why that's important is there's a world in which people understand when it comes to restaurants. Politics is all about kind of this obfuscation, right? They purposefully make it complicated so people don't understand what's going on. When I bring it back to food and restaurants, a lot of people who know nothing about what's going on in the government, they say, that doesn't sound right. I see my local restaurant owner. I buy that piece of food at the grocery store. And then suddenly, now they're understanding how bad the government is. And the government woke up to that when I started speaking as this kind of celebrity chef. Whoa. This guy is more dangerous than this political pundit or Ben Shapiro or this podcaster, because what he's saying makes sense and people can understand it. So we got to come after him, which, I mean, I talk about this. Newsom came after me through the pandemic, with the Labor Commission stuff. We talked about this before. But even about 4 weeks ago, they start going over the, Randy Economy does the whole new recall Newsom thing. He had asked me to speak there. I wasn't able to. Something happened with my kids that day. My name ended up on the press release, right? But I wasn't there. I had nothing to do with it. Press release goes out. That afternoon, I get a phone call from my chef. He goes, the ABC's here. The Alcohol Beverage Commission. I said, why? He said, anonymous reports from up above that you're serving low-quality alcohol and pouring it into good bottles. So they come in, they do an hour-long audit. She's like, it's not only is it excellent, you guys are running a clean shop, running a clean operation. And the reality is we know where that came down from. That came down from the governor's office or somebody within his orbit making false reports. 2 weeks later, I go on a Fox show. Health department shows up. Why are you here? You just gave us our permit 2 weeks ago. Oh, well, somebody told me to swing by. It doesn't stop.
Right.
Doesn't stop.
It's also, for some reason, it's okay with a lot of Americans to have their government essentially weaponized to harass people that disagree with them, which is disgusting to me. And more people should be insanely outraged by it. And yet they don't really care, because what I've figured out is as long as it's their people harassing the other people who didn't vote for their people, they seem okay with it.
100%. That's also why we need to be careful if the party that we like is in charge, because then if we start to set standards, then they are going to keep pushing them forward. Now, that doesn't mean we don't fight back. We just have to be creative about the ways we do it. We don't want to legislate that fight into code, because that same code is going to ultimately be used against us. Because then there's a certain point at which you can't turn it around, and that's where we are in California. They've gone so far, and it is galvanized into the actual kind of rubric of the way in which they manage California, that even if tomorrow it was 90% Republican, let's say, or liberty-minded, I don't even know if they could get through the gauntlet of power against the people that's been stitched into the, not literal, but in some cases, constitution of the way in which they operate. And we see it clearly as restaurants. We're the first people they hit, because you talk about the money. Lauren was just going over the numbers with me. She's my wife. She runs payroll, and she goes, you know how much we paid the government last year just in payroll alone? And mind you, we're going week to week are we going to be able to make payroll this week because costs are so high? We paid over $300,000 to the government last year. That's just payroll. That's none of the other permits, taxes. That's strictly payroll. $300,000. That's just one of my restaurants. Think about that. Where's that money go?
Damn.
I was thinking about this the other day. Tell me if you would do this. I had this thought. L.A. First off, California. Who the fuck knows? You just pay. You'll never go to sleep at night if you think about it. But a couple of years ago, I owed the government $2 million in taxes, and I sold a warehouse. And I paid them their $2 million in taxes. And I was thinking about it the other day because I was thinking about Doge and all money going here and money, or, $26 billion on homeless, or the train to nowhere's running $80 million over budget, or $1 billion over budget. I was just thinking about all the insane waste. Just monetary through the roof. Like, we do stuff like we buy every kid a tablet from Apple, and then at some point they lose the tablet, and we pay more than retail for it. But anyway, I was just driving along, and I had this hypothetical thought. I said, I cut the government a check for $2 million, which, by the way, I do feel like I should get perks for that. No one else does, but name me a place that doesn't work that way. If that was a casino, I'd be getting free cocktails and a comp suite and a couple of whores sent over. So, okay, pardon me, I'm crazy, but I pay the government a lot of money, and I feel like I should be able to get someone on the phone when I call 911. But that's me. Okay. Now, I was having a hypothetical thought. So I just gave the government $2 million a couple of years ago. Now, that money is, who knows, who cares? I don't know. Went to Ukraine, went to the homeless kid who wasn't homeless, but he's working in a different name. Go look at Doge stuff and figure it out. So I thought to myself, Adam, would you rather... Now, either way, the $2 million is gone. Let's just do, hypothetically, you're out $2 million. I'm out $2 million, right? Would you rather be out $2 million and the government gets the $2 million, or you're out $2 million, which you will be anyway, but the Tunnel to Towers guy who builds the houses for the homeless veterans and the veterans that have been injured on the battlefield, that guy gets $150. And I realized I'd rather, either way, $2 million are coming out of my bank account, but I'd rather give the Tunnel to Towers guy $150. That money would go further than the $2 million that the government is just going to piss away. I have no idea what they're doing with anything. It's insane. And when you start paying them, you kind of wake up to the fact that not only are you paying them, but at some point, an adversarial relationship has been spawned where they're now harassing you, because the people who would like to cook hot dogs with bacon on it out front of the Staples Center and pay no taxes and pay for no health inspectors and have nothing, the government is completely fine with them. But it's you, chef, who they will be paying a visit to because maybe you spoke out against some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it is nefarious. It's not that much different than third world countries. It is weaponized against its own citizens, and it's fucking bullshit. And just because you may be listening and you may agree with that shit does not mean it's good. And if you have a spine and some dignity, you will stand up to it.
Using your analogy, there actually is a solution to all of our problems there that's pretty simple. It would just never get executed because there's no brains in government. But everybody is willing to, in your case, spend that $2 million. They said the $2 million's gone. Hypothetically, I get it, right? Let's say it's $1 million. Let's say it's 50,000 or 5,000. I actually think the American people would be okay generally paying taxes if they knew that they got to choose where it went. So imagine a world where there's 200 privately run organizations of completely diverse missions, and you can say, okay, I want 5,000 to go to, Bob's nonprofit. I want 2,000 to go over here to help, put bathrooms in by the sports stadium, or you pick. If you get to pick, then you get an annual report from them. I think the lion's share of people would then be okay saying, all right, I paid that money. I see where it went. I got the annual report, just like any other investor would in a small business or in a nonprofit. And that would actually solve the entire kind of mental, this war that we're waging between, oh, you don't want to pay your fair share, which is all emotional, right? Like, that's emotional manipulation. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people would pay it if they knew where it was going.
An investor government, you're saying.
It's private. It's private, right? Everything's private.
Well, the aforementioned Dr. Drew tells me all the time, he goes, I don't really mind paying taxes in New York because I see where the money goes and I enjoy it. Like, I feel like I get some use out of it. But he says in L.A., it's just potholes and garbage everywhere. And it's like, where is this money going that we pay so much into?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think everybody's willing to ante up a little bit, but when it starts getting taken advantage of, you just got to kind of cut it off. And right now, that's why Doge is so amazing. I mean, look at it from a restaurant perspective. If I walked into a business and they said, look, I'm losing all this money, but I got all this sales, what's going on? And I've been in this situation as a consultant, right? And I've looked in and I said, well, they're stealing liquor, they're giving away free food to get bigger tips, and they're just walking out with food from the back door. I'm firing everybody, right? Bring in 3 or 4 new people, get the restaurant running up to cruising altitude, and now suddenly they're dropping 15% again to the bottom line, and everything was good. That's Doge right now. Right. That's Doge. He's walking into a restaurant, people are stealing food, drinking, giving away stuff, so they get a bigger tip. Oh yeah, they didn't like table 13, so I'm going to comp that, and then suddenly table 13 tips them 50%. We all know how that works.
Interesting.
On the backs of the business owner. That's Doge. It's a real simple idea, but once again, they purposefully try and confuse it. Elon is a chef, or he's the Steven Seagal chef of the government right now.
Yeah.
Under siege.
Under siege. Yeah.
All right, should we take a break? We'll do a little news, and we'll do that right after this. So, what is a mechanic, an auto shop owner in Georgia, taco restaurant operator in Arizona, and a life-saving medical innovator in Tennessee have in common? Well, they're all small businesses, and they're all thriving on TikTok. She Mechanic, AZ, Taco King, and CPR Rap are all just 3 of the 7.5 million businesses across the U.S. that are using TikTok to compete and grow. From family-run establishments to entrepreneurs, 74% of businesses on TikTok say the platform has allowed them to scale their operations, increase sales, and expand to new locations. And that growth means jobs. Today, millions of businesses on TikTok employ more than 28 million people and counting. Small businesses thrive on TikTok. Am I right, Dawson?
Learn more about TikTok's contribution to the U.S. economy at TikTokeconomicimpact.com.
O'Reilly. O'Reilly. Auto parts. Wow. Yeah, you know the jingle. Yeah, they're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offers friendly, helpful service and the parts and knowledge you need for maintenance and for repairs as well. I've always been a fan of O'Reilly. I like the wrench. Used to use the one over in North Hollywood. Then it was the one up in La Cañada, or La Crescenta when I used to live out there. I'm always working on my stuff and always using O'Reilly. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you're going to find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts to be knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, they are friendly. So stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Do it today. Or you can visit us online, O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
In the spirit of Murrow, Jennings, Cronkite, here's another great moment in local news.
Everybody here in the studio, a moment of silence. Hooters is closing.
All of them? What?
Maybe.
I did love their wings days.
Yes.
They had great specials.
The wings?
The wings?
Yes, the wings. What else, Libby? Yeah.
Just want to keep you abreast.
That's a great moment in local news. Now, back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right. Mayhem, what's in the news?
All right. State of the Union, of course. Here's a preview for you guys. He's going to be, looks like, focusing on his successes in immigration. There's record low crossings here in February. It's fell to 8,300, down 94% to 140,000 last year.
Yeah, well, listen, if this is okay, this is my sad opinion, but it happens to be true. If somebody gives a shit about something, they can fix stuff. Like if you got me, if I just became mayor of Los Angeles, I would go, what the fuck's going on with the traffic? Why aren't people turning right on a red? What's up with these fucking red turn hours? Why are they staying red? How come no one uses their signal? How come nobody... And shit would get better because that's what I care about. Now, I may not do a lot for the trans community because I don't give a fuck about the trans community, but I do care about traffic. And the other thing I hate is garbage everywhere. And I would just be going, this whole fucking place it's so much garbage. What are we doing here? Get Bette Midler to adopt this, lane in the 101 and let's get this shit picked up. Whose area is this? Like, I would go find out Sun Valley. Sunland, Pacoima. Who stretch a fucking the freeway says? What's your name? Okay, you're the mayor. Clean your shit up. Clean your fucking shit up and do it now. And then things will get better. Trump cared about the border.
Yeah.
Biden didn't care about anything, especially the border, and neither did Kamala Harris, and neither did any of the Democrats. So they don't care, so nothing happened. And by the way, they lied the whole time. Like, well, Congress needs to pass a bill, or you could just do it as the president,
well, before
which
you
is
go
what
down
Trump
that
did.
road, let me get some more of his successes.
All right.
The ICE arrests surge. They increased 600% compared to Biden, with over 20,000 illegal immigrants arrested by ICE in a single month. Remain in Mexico is reinstated. That policy, we know what it is. They stay there until they can get things sorted out. Cartel leaders were extradited. President of the United States secured extradition of 29 Mexican drug cartel bosses to face charges for their crimes in the United States, including one accused of killing a DEA agent. The Lake and Riley Act was signed, ensuring that ICE will detain illegal immigrants arrested or charged with theft or violence, and honoring the legacy of Lake and Riley, was killed by an illegal who had previously been arrested but never detained by ICE. The migrant shelters closed. Tariffs have been implemented, 25%.
I don't know about this tariff thing because I hear back and forth about it.
Yeah, it's a very fluid situation. We don't know whether there will be, at the time of this airing, we don't know if that will be actually implemented yet.
I think it is.
Oh, okay.
But I know I'm not an expert at tariffs. I hear this group say it's a bad idea. I hear this group say it's a good idea. At a certain point, I think what you have to do, regardless of who's your person, is you just go, look, I trust this person. I think they know what they're doing. The last guy was brain dead and corrupt. So that's a kind of a 1-2 punch of negativity. Yeah. So when he could think lucidly, then he got his son paid.
Yeah.
When the rest of the time he's just fucking up the country, and then his junkie son and his crazy wife were running the show. So it's all better than that. This is basically what my take. I'm now realizing I don't think Biden was doing anything that had to do with governing. So everything's going to be better than him. Now, as far as who's ever taken his place, you have to go, look, the last head coach we had on this football team went 2-14 for the last 4 seasons, right? Then we got a new guy. And the new guy is doing stuff some of it you agree with, and some of it you don't understand. But at a certain point, you go, it's his team. He won a lot of games at his last job. You're going to have to just step back and trust him. He wants to go for an onside kick in the first quarter, or he wants to go for a fake punt, even though they're up 13. You know what? Sounds unconventional, but the guy's a winning coach, and you just got to step. And you hired him. You're just going to have to step back.
He's putting the water boy in as the quarterback, and everybody's yelling about it. But this is like one of those amazing, heartwarming stories where like suddenly then the water boy becomes the popular quarterback, and the guy won, and it's like, we doubted you, but you won. Tariffs economically can be analyzed day in and day out through every single textbook as being something good, something bad. Everyone's got an opinion. If you look at it through an economic prism, it's not. This is not about the economy. As ironic as that sounds, tariffs are not about the economy. It's about leverage.
Yeah.
Negotiation is about leverage.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is you go back to the coach analogy. You go, it's 4th and 7, and then they're on the wrong side of the 50, and he's going for it? What's he crazy going for it? And you're like, no, he's trying to draw him off sides.
Yeah.
And you go, what's he doing going for it? It's like, no, he's not going for it. He's trying to draw him off. So there's a strategy within the strategy. And it's also strategy that the coach isn't going to talk about, because the coach isn't going to go, I'm not really going for it on 4th. I'm just sending the team out there. No, he doesn't want that information out. Trump said it all the time when he would say, someone would say, like Biden would go, we don't want, we want peace with, and we want to start a whatever, and we want to help this group and sanction that group. And Trump would always go, why are you telling them what you're going to do? Yeah. Stop telling them what you're going to do. These are people who want us dead, or we're at war with these people. Don't tell them what you want to. Make them think what you're going to do, but don't tell them. Get them off balance. So I wouldn't take the guy literally, and I would assume there's a method to his madness. Whereas the last guy, we just had madness. There's no method, just the madness part.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a whole report on the State of the Union address tomorrow. All right. He really.
Who's gonna get lippy? Like, what Democratic chick's gonna try to get a name for herself by standing up and yelling something good?
Oh, Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett.
I mean, you said standing up. I mean, Adam Schiff's already standing up while he's sitting down because his neck is going higher than a giraffe. So he's yelling.
Yeah.
He's looking over the crowd. And then you're going to have probably...
AOC throw a snowball 2-1.
It's funny how AOC's kind of become like the has-been now. You got even crazier personalities out there. And she's lost her zing. I saw her on, was it PBS or NPR? And they're asking her questions.
She had a baby. Saw dopamine.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
She did. There you go.
Release.
There you go.
Oxytocin.
Did she have a baby?
Wait, I don't know.
I thought that was it.
It's coming. I know. It's coming.
It's a good point.
You're right. You're right.
Any minute now.
Listen. Okay. So here's the thing. You need to be a little bit crazy. You have to be a narcissist, you have to be crazy, and you have to also have no sense of yourself to just get in and start screaming about shit all the time, especially shit you don't know about, which is everything for them because they're dumb. So she used to be able to do that. AOC was good at just getting on and yelling about stuff. But sort of like the douchebag dudes you fought in high school, you run into them when they're 50 and they're like mellowed out, like they just lost some testosterone. They've loved and lost a little. They've been divorced, all of a sudden the dude who was like the aggressive douchebag is sort of mellow now, and time tends to sort of mellow people. She's mellowed a little bit. And I saw her on NPR. But there's two phenomenons you're experiencing. One is AOC has kind of, I would say, lost her fastball, but she never had a fastball. But she lost her screwball, which is her being a fucking screwball and liking to talk about shit all the time. She's also, what you saw on NPR is also, there's a second part of that, which is, since when has NPR ever asked a Democrat a question?
True.
And so she's like, what? What's going on?
Yeah.
And so she's like, wait a minute, I go on NPR so you guys can nod and ask me softball questions. And what are you doing asking a question now? So they get fucked up because they go, look, I'm not going on Hannity and I'm not going on Fox because those guys are going to ask questions. So I'm not going to do that. I will go to the friendly confines of NPR. NPR got the message that you guys need to start actually functioning. You need to actually perform a function at some point. You have to do some news instead of partisan cheerleading. So she goes to NPR and the guy asked her a question about the border or a question about lawfare, and she's like, Bob, we're friends, aren't we? Like, what? I thought we had an agreement. She's probably kicking him in the shin, going, what the fuck is going on? It said NPR in front of the building. You asked me softball questions, and I don't answer them. You can find that, Dawson. It was kind of funny. So she seems like somebody gave her half a Quaalude. And she's just kind of like, yeah, first off, maybe she's just tired of defending insanity. Maybe she got tired of it, but she's lost a little.
Yeah. It's the spices, right? She's 4-year-old paprika. You buy the paprika
right.
and you crack it open fresh and it's smoky and it's bold, and then you leave it in your pantry drawer and then you want to make chicken paprikash 4 years later and it tastes like cardboard.
Yeah,
she's 4-year-old chicken
flat.
paprika.
Yeah, she looks like paprika, but no zest.
Yeah.
The zest is gone.
She's got the label on the outside. It's a little worn off, and there's clumps on the inside
Clumpy.
too. And the
chicken paprikash, you gotta make it, man. And so AOC is not pregnant, but we have her on NPR as a funny. I don't know if we have the clips we're talking about, but it's funny. The clip would be, the headline should be, guy from NPR does his job. That should be the headline.
And he felt bad about doing it.
Yeah,
you could tell.
I agree with you, babe.
You had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents. And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
He said he was going to report you, or even that he did reach out to the Department of Justice. Have you heard from the Department of Justice?
I have not, and I intend on reaching out to the Department of Justice to inquire.
All right, you can find the lawfare one, because that's the
she
one.
Looks mad.
The
and
law.
She looks like she's melting.
Well, he asked the question twice, more pointedly the second time, and she got pissed. That's where she's
interesting.
Right, like. No, so the way they would do it in the past that I always love is they'd go, back when Biden and Kamala Harris, they'd go, Kamala, first they'd couch it this way. There are those on the right who say the border is porous. What do you say to that? And she goes, the border has never been more stout. And they go, I hear Joe Biden's celebrating a birthday. Yeah. And that's how it worked. They ask the question. Yeah. They don't fucking ask the follow-up question, and then they move right on. So they don't like the follow-up. But the one about lawfare, Dawson, is in there. That's where she just like, I don't know. I should just get pregnant. She's tired. You're right.
Told you.
She's tired.
Yeah. Diluted paprika.
Diluted paprika. All right. Well, they'll find that. You can go on with your next story.
Look, comedian Michael Rappaport's in the news. He slams a Canadian lawmaker for attempting to get him barred from doing stand-up comedy in Canada. Comedian, outspoken pro-Israel activist Michael Rappaport trashed a liberal Canadian politician for demanding her fellow lawmakers bar him for doing stand-up shows in the country.
In Canada, they don't like free speech over there.
Yeah. She called out saying that he's Islamophobic and hate has no place in Canada.
Hate has no place. Yeah. By the way, but they never give you the caveat is they go, hate has no place in this whatever, and they go, and by the way, I'll be deciding what hate is.
Yeah.
That'll be my job. I'll be the hate meister, and I will decide what's hateful. So you may not think of it as hateful, but I get to be the arbiter of what is hate, and hate, by the way, has no place.
Yeah, Rappaport had fun with it. He invited her front row seats for her and New Democrats.
We got a clip. Great. So it says here. I think.
Yeah.
It's got a 3-minute clip. We'll play that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, if you put it on my screen.
Happy Passover to everybody. I never, ever thought that I would even think to need to be or have to be speaking about what's going on right over here in New York City. If this was a group of people screaming against tall people, short people, black people, Spanish people, Asian people, people with big noses, big feet, and little noses, this would be stopped ASAP. This is not the New York way. This is an embarrassment to New York City. That's right. This is an embarrassment to the city of New York. This is a stain that historically, it will go down in history as an embarrassing time to New York. I want to also make sure that
Is this the clip we're speaking of in the story?
This is him talking about a Palestinian rights rally. Yeah,
but this is not the clip we spoke of. I think
so.
If there is one, it is the clip attached to the news story. All right, well, I thought something about the Canadian chick was trying to shut him down.
No. Well, his Wisconsin show was canceled last May after anti-Israel agitators threatened the venue where he was said to perform.
So he was not.
Happens. Yeah,
he's not
New York
welcome
as well.
there. Wait, New York or Canada?
No, New York. He was in New York, and they're having a pro Hamas.
Wait, read
sort
the
of
top
rally.
of this. Read the top of the news story. I want to know what this means. Canadian?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The Canadian. Yeah. The Canadian lady, the Democrat in Canada, has urged him to be banned from Canada. So
right.
He can't
that's
come there.
what I'm referring to because that's the story that I heard.
But they gave us some extra with the video.
All right. Well, yeah, listen, in the booth, just get the video to line up with the story, because then we went from Canada to New York to Wisconsin. But the story was he's not welcome in Canada. Yeah. And he's trolling this woman.
He's just all over the news.
All right, I'm going to help you out here.
All right, thanks.
He's going to make a great old man. He's going to be great, because you know what I mean? Like, you know how Madonna is like going insane, and it's getting more and more humorous to us. And she's, 67 years old or something. When Madonna's 83, it's going to be great. It's going to be like clown makeup and her shaking her fist and screaming about stuff. And it's going to, the entertainment value will be off the charts when Madonna gets into her 80s. All right. She's going to be dressed in lingerie and freaking everyone out. Like it's going to be great. Yeah. Madonna's going to be a great, crazy old lady. And Rappaport's going to be a great, crazy old man. And I like him. Yeah. I'm just saying the best is yet to come. He's going to be up there screaming in 2052. He's going to be up there screaming about shit, and your kids are going to be delighted.
It's already starting to peep through, because I'm still trying to figure out if I know anyone with big feet and little noses.
The problem with going off the prompter is you start going down that road. They go, listen, and I'm talking about everyone. I don't care if you're black or you're brown or you're white or purple or you're like turquoise. And that's like, okay, there are no turquoise people. Like, once they do black, they keep going.
Because you got to have a list.
Like, I got to get the whole gay flag in here.
Yeah, it's like gluten-free. I don't care if you have celiac.
I don't care if your favorite band is the Grateful Dead or your least favorite band is the Grateful Dead. I don't care who you are. That's where they run into trouble.
Yeah.
Because I don't care you can have big earlobes and small nostrils, or you can have huge nostrils like Dionne Warwick and then smaller earlobes. Or why you don't care if you're purple or green. You have just as much right. It's like, okay, but let's bring it in.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah,
right. By the way, you had me with I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You had covered the people with the big nose and the small feet and everybody.
Yeah, now he's reading the appendix. It's like, we got the point in the article. I'm not flipping through to the appendix.
we have the NPR one about lawfare. Yeah, this is one where she just looks like, I don't know. Aren't you supposed to just ask the one question?
Defeated.
By the way, most people only have enough bullshit for the first round of questioning.
Yeah.
When I was on a commercial flight, I've told you this a million times, during COVID, and I was in first class. I was like, I'm getting a drink. I want vodka, soda water, and lemon. They're like, we don't have lemon. I go, do you have lime? No, we don't have lemon or lime. I go, why not? She goes, we pulled it off during COVID. I go, what's citrus have to do with COVID? And she goes, I don't know. And walked away. Like, you need round 2 chamber. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not a physician, but I hear that the acid and the citrus.
It's all about the pH.
Yeah, nothing. They got Democrats, when they go to NPR, they got the first round of bullshit, and they don't have the second round chambered because there's not going to be a follow-up question, but now there is. All right, here it is. Sorry, by the way.
How do they prepare?
I think they look to the possibility of litigation. I think they're saying, do we have the best teams possible in order to carry out our work?
Some Republican, or many perhaps, will be watching this, listening to this, and thinking, wait a minute, actually, you're the ones who are prosecuting us. You are the guys who are weaponizing the Justice Department. How would you respond to somebody who may be thinking that?
In what way? In what way? Is the very presence
Putting Trump on trial would be their example, I suppose.
Yes. I mean, here's the deal. In the United States, there is a jury where we are judged by our peers, and he was found guilty in court on 34 felony charges. If people want to say it was weaponized, I mean, it is hard-pressed to say that there's a partisan argument for that. You have Senator Menendez, famously.
Right. The question is, how did he get to court? I look like it was, he was found guilty. Yeah, because you guys trumped up charges and dragged him to court, and that's why. Yeah, she's good. You're right. She's lost her fastball. She's left with her screwball. That's all she's got.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Sometimes dumb people say things to try to jar thoughts in their next thought. So it's like you gotta figure. A lot of people go, look, these thoughts, they're like stalactites hanging on my brain above my mouth. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if I could just knock one loose, it will fall into my mouth, and then I would spit out something good.
Yeah, it's a great strategy for the podcast.
Yeah. So they go, here's the deal. Come on, stalactite, fall, land on my tongue.
She was hoping for something.
Something's got to break off and land in my mouth.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Internal or external. Like she was hoping maybe a light would fall, the guy would have a heart attack, anything.
Yes, there's acts of God.
But whatever happened to just being open, honest, and transparent? It's so easy. I tell my servers this all the time in a restaurant, right? Somebody complains about a steak, a fish, something's overcooked. Don't sit there and litigate it, right? Because those are their feelings. Well, did you cut in the center? Because if you cut at the end, then maybe it's overcooked. Or are you sure? Because medium rare does have red. Oh, you don't like it? We're going to make you a new one right now, and we're giving you 50% off, period, done. 3 seconds, done, over, new food on the table. Most of the time, they'll actually tip more. People who have problems and it's quickly resolved without any bullshit are actually happier customers.
They appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, agreed. The worst anyone can do, and they do it here, but they do it in restaurants a lot, where you go, I asked for no mayonnaise on that. They go, you didn't say that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all right, okay.
When you're right, you're still wrong.
Yes. There's that. There's the other one that is always funny because I keep telling you guys they got the lemon and the lime and they can't differentiate anymore, and they start swapping out lemons for limes, and they bring you a lime in your drink when you ask for a lemon. There's a new middle ground where they turn it into a tie. So you go, give me a Diet Coke with a lemon, and they bring you a Diet Coke with a lime, and then you go, could I get a lemon instead of the lime? She goes, oh, you want both? And it's like, no, bitch, I didn't want both. I wanted the one with the lemon in it, but you didn't bring that one. And I didn't want to yell at you, so I just went, could you bring a lemon? But don't turn this into, I want both. I said lemon, you brought lime. You can't remember.
Yep.
And that's the new world we're living in.
That's why all restaurants, all food service, everything is going to be automated going forward. I know you hate the kiosks and people hate the motorized this or the mobilized this, that. Everything is going to be computer.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing at the kiosk because me using the kiosk is not a time saver for the business. I'm frequenting.
Yeah.
I was literally at the Vegas airport. I was either at Austin or Vegas like a few days ago. And there's something that's funny with the self-checkout kiosk is I was just buying an unsweetened iced tea, but they have a person. It's the same person who stands by Home Depot when I go to check out. And they go, you want to do the self-checkout? Yeah. And I go, yeah, I'll use the self-checkout. And they go, okay, no, you can't swipe the credit card through your butt cheeks. You got to put it in the machine. And I go, oh, okay, yeah, and I do it. And then I stare at it, and I go, what? They wants to know if you want a receipt. Oh, and they reach over and they put.
Yeah.
I'm at the airport. This chick is just she's pushing everything. I'm just standing there, and I'm going, what do I do? No, it's asking you if you want a receipt, and it's asking you if you need a bag, and I'm like, I don't see where. It completely defeated the spirit of having this automated thing because it's a woman. She did everything.
They're getting you ready. See, that's version 1.0. Airports Now. I was in Newark last week. You ready for this one? Full store, nobody in there. Sandwiches everywhere, chips, bags, sodas, you name it, okay? I walk in, you put your credit card on top, okay? It automatically charges you $1 and knows it's got the balance, however they do it. You walk in, you grab everything you want, you walk right back out. When you walk out, it charges to your card.
Wow. Really?
I didn't interact with anybody. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, Newark Airport. I got 6 sandwiches, 2 bags of chips, and I'm pretty sure that I got some mascara.
Someone was smoking pie.
Yeah, it was. I wanted to see if it worked, right? Nothing.
I know. After I passed the kiosk where the lady was doing all the work for me, I passed another one and it was manless. There was nobody there. What is the go-to airport sandwich when you got to get the prefabber?
That's a great question, by the way, because it's something we deal with all the time with the family, the kids, everybody, because we're all going to take a bite of it, so we got to all like it. It is the marble rye turkey Gouda sandwich that's in every single airport.
Be specific.
Yeah. It's because that's a specific brand that I think they'll like. Whoever has the contract for sandwiches in all airports, you can go to the specific restaurant that maybe has their own, but in the general store, I forget the name of it, they've got that one. It's marble rye, it's turkey, and it's smoked Gouda, and they put the sauce on the side. So if you don't want the mustard, or you don't want the mayonnaise, or your kids don't, it's a perfect sandwich.
Smart, shrewd. Yeah. I'm with you. I like a tuna sandwich. I just don't want one that's been sitting at an airport for 11 hours before I get there. The turkey, the Gouda, can't go wrong. Put the condiments on the side. Smart. All right, let's do one more.
All right. In a disturbing development out of here in Los Angeles, 30 juvenile detention officers have been indicted for allegedly orchestrating and encouraging so-called gladiator fights amongst youth detainees in Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall.
Oh, you gotta
some leaked footage
know this
here.
is going to happen.
Yeah.
So they just fight in the rec room?
Yeah, apparently that's what's been happening. They were encouraging the kids to fight over nearly 70 times. So, yeah, this is a normal thing, a normal part of the culture here in Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall.
We're rehabbing these kids.
Now, I'll say...
Let's break down the fight film, Mayhem, because you could do it. Can I say
technique.
This? All right.
Yeah.
You're right. I used to teach boxing.
All right.
Lift everybody. You got to get that front hand working. You can't just cock the hammer on the overhand because you can just look at the guy who's only throwing the overhand. It doesn't find its target.
Well, see the height differential played a factor here, especially, and the footwork of the smaller fighter here.
But get the jab working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to pop that out there, send it out, yo-yo it a bit, kind of, put it into an uppercut, put it into a hook. Yeah, these kids are just flat rock'em sock'em robot fighting.
I like. It's a female guard.
Yeah,
that's refereeing.
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. It's a female. Like when you just said the guards at the detention juvie, these are dudes, right?
No.
Female guards running the show.
Yeah, it was a lot and 30 of them got unpaid leave. They're out of a job right now while they finish this investigation. As you can see, it's kind of disturbing. I know I spend most of my life in a fight gym. And this is not a fight gym, It's some kids that are at a bad break.
It's unclear what the rules are. You get a plate of food, you go out and throw a couple of punches, and then you go back and sit down and eat your shit on a shingle. I don't get what the rules are for the fight club.
What it is that they're just keeping one gets Shark Tanking them. You know what I mean? One guy just staying in. You see this gray head.
It's called bull in the ring.
Exactly. Yeah. So. We call it Shark Tank MMA. Like you Shark Tank them, you put them through a bunch of training.
Let me.
And then he got his food. See?
Yeah.
You see that? That was the condition.
You have to fight this guy. This guy want to catch a fade, as they call it in the streets. He wants to catch a fade with everybody before they get their lunch. Oh, this big guy. Oh wow!
The form
the form is pretty bad.
He's kicking though.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what I'm unsure of with people. There is a camera everywhere, all day, all the time, everywhere. Why in modern America, with a camera everywhere, are we trying to get away with shit anymore? Now, look, I get it. You live in Los Angeles, you're a homeless guy, and you want to go be a porch pirate. Fine, we'll film you, but then we're not doing anything about it. So who cares if there's a camera? You just go up to the porch and take what you want.
No, there's big investigations on this kind of thing. Yeah.
But if you work somewhere and you want to take a piss in the coffee pot, that's different.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be film of you doing it. That's the thing. Why don't these bitches know they're in a facility that has cameras in it?
Yeah. But if no one ever checks the cameras, and this is part of the culture. And I'll say, like, as far as being incarcerated culture, like, this is something where that guy did something wrong to all the other students here.
Oh, I see.
And so his punishment was to
justice.
Go to a fade with everybody in the dorm.
Oh, that's why the one guy had to pay it. Okay.
You had to pay the tax.
Well, in which case, I'm for it. All right, let me give some plugs. Chef, love seeing you online. Love the spirit. Love the presence.
You're inspiring, man.
You're inspiring.
I can't wait to make an omelet.
I appreciate it.
Andrew Gruel's Family Cookbook, out as we speak. Rumble, Cooking with Gruel. What's the website we should go to?
Well, for the cookbook, it's www.andrewcookbook.com. Pretty simple, to the point. Website, chefgruel.com or americangravy.com for more of the shows. And I'm on X at Chef Gruel. And there we go.
And the new bourbon, 3 Chord Bourbon. That is Neil Giraldo. You know him from lots of stuff, but I guess Pat Benatar probably the most. Great dude, fun time. Me, Phoenix coming up, Desert Ridge Improv, and then Desert Ridge Improv, and then Desert Ridge Improv. That's coming up March 14th, 15th, 16th. And then Tacoma after that. You can go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. And until next time, this is Adam for Chef Gruel and Neil Giraldo and Mayhem. Say it. Mahalo.